Can you hear me? Yay. I forgot how this whole microphone fell down the last Sunday that I was going live, and then I had to reconnect it. Yay. Happy Sunday. I see Daisha and Jeff, Haley, and I know Mike is on here. It's kind of funny, and I know you guys can relate to this. I don't know what's going on at your house right now. If you want to type it in the chat to make me feel better, that'd be fine. But it's always crazy, like the chaos that ensues, like everything that's going on. And I'm always like, okay, I'm about to press like go live, and I hope nobody can hear all the stuff in the background because it is just life. It's normal life. It's preteen life. It's parenting life, it's Sunday night life, it's getting ready for work life. Like I'm always like, oh Lord, I hope I hope nobody's gonna hear, the background. So far, so good. Nobody has heard it. And now everybody seems to be having gathered themselves around our house. And they're having dinner. But anyway, happy Sunday. I'm so glad you guys are here. Haley said a shit show. That's so funny. I needed to hear that because it certainly feels like that. Interestingly enough, and I'm going to talk about this in a few minutes when I talk a little bit about like the whole weight situation. But we've been kind of doing some, a lot of cooking today and prepping things. I'm going to give you guys like the thing that we've been doing for a solid 2 weeks. So no experts here, but that has really helped us to kind of get through the weekend to do better, like, on our health portion, but we'll talk about that in a second. My mind is blown that this is the last Sunday in April. Look, I have to double check that. Yeah, because as of Friday, it's March or May. It is the last Sunday in April, which my mind is blown because I thought we would never get here. We would never get to the warm weather. And now it's hot AF. Actually, it is sometimes, and then it's cold like it has been today, which is so weird. I don't know if you guys are experiencing that too, where you are. But it was so hot yesterday, like so hot that like I'm hiding under an umbrella at soccer games and baseball games, just like, please, sun, stop touching me, to today where it's literally like it's freezing outside. So I don't know if you guys are experiencing that too. So weird. But, I never thought we would get here to the sunshine. And Haley, I saw that you've been posting your workouts and saying like that you had missed too, like, this warm weather. And I mean, I'm here for it. But it's so funny how like there doesn't seem to be an in-between. It seems to be like all or nothing, one way or the other. But I do want to chat with you guys about this. Is so like on this end of the world where I feel like I mentioned this the last time that I went live. And I know that you guys can relate to this because even though I can see those of you who are here, like you have, been through the running program, you have, kind of gone away from it, you've come back to it periodically. I just want to take a moment to give credit where credit is due to what it feels like to start over again. And I mentioned this a few weeks ago about how I was just dabbling in running again. Mike got me a new knee brace, which has been fantastic. Knock on wood, it's been really helping. And I've been able to, run a little more. It's interesting because like, I love it. Like, I think there's so many rabbit holes to go down with this. And Daisha, you've heard them all about like my feelings about running. And I like, it's almost like an addiction. And so like that is, still there. I love it so much. I love the feeling of it. But then there's part of me that sometimes is like, and I see you guys changing it up too. Like, that's like, okay, well, I'm not going to run today, or I'd rather go for a walk, or, I think I'm going to lift some weights. Just like switching it up has felt really good. And so I'm there with you if you've done that, but I haven't been able to like run consistently in a long time. And I finally am. And it's so interesting, like how hard it is. I mentioned this, but I want to mention again, credit where credit is due. Like it is freaking hard. And it's so funny. I love to experience this with you guys again, right? Because my ideal people, you guys are, either non-runners dabbling in running or like, don't consider yourselves experts. And like, we're figuring out how to like leave and come back and let it be a part of our lives and how to keep the balance. And it's like, it's really hard. And it's hard when you first start and it's hard when you restart. And I always say this to you guys, I'm going to say it again, but like, I have so much data just from all of the years that I've done it that I know that it's not forever. I know there's another side, but like, oh my gosh, to the people who don't have that, to fall back on this whole, like, I know it's going to feel great. I know I'm going to love it, but I wonder what it sounds like to anybody who's new or returning again, like the former me who had been like running so much that it was literally like, like, I don't want to say like nothing, but it was second nature. There was no weirdness to it. And telling you guys like, no, this is great. It's wonderful. It feels so good. Like I imagine there's a part of you that like, actually, Tina, it doesn't feel that good. And actually, I feel like I'm not really good at it. And I know that's what a lot of our coaching is about, right? Like it's a lot of it is about getting through those barriers of like, okay, this is hard. Okay, this is difficult. And getting you guys to that place of like, it can feel good. And it really does. Like, I'm not a liar, I promise. But like those beginning stages, and they take a long time. It is not something that just kicks into gear after a week. So if you guys are, not necessarily in the groove yet, just, I'm there with you. And it's really funny. Like all of the questions that everyone has asked me over the years, funny enough, Mike and I were talking about how this in July, this will be 5 years since this whole, you know, our whole program emerged. It was almost 5 years ago. And like all of the people have said to me, like, oh my gosh, this is too hard. Like this stinks. And all those pep talks that I've given, like I get where those are coming from. I have never felt it so much in so long. It's really funny. So especially like the heat kicks up, right? And then your breathing is off. You feel so weak. Like what am I doing? You feel so awkward. I'm going out. I'm not going out. Like I'm going out too fast for what I can do. And it's so funny. So what I have rediscovered, and I've told you guys this, I've told you in training, and I tell you all the time, is I really had to like recoach myself into like, and I'm just jogging. I'm not like doing anything crazy, but I'm trying to get back to more consistency with jogging and running. It's not funny. I often have a hard time, just like y'all, saying like, okay, I'm running. It's so interesting how you can go back and get back into this mindset. So I'm running, and I have to remind myself of all the things, relaxing my body, taking deep breaths, but most importantly, and this has been the biggest game changer for it not to suck so bad, like how to make it suck less. If there was a book, How to Make It Suck Less, rule number one, a guide to slowing down, like literally. And it's so funny because even when I thought I was going slow, I was not in a place where it felt even a little bit comfortable, not even a little bit. Like I couldn't even get in the zone a little bit. It felt like so much work. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is how everybody feels. This is how like, this is kind of miserable. But you really have to go slow before you can go fast. You guys have heard me say that, but it's all relative. I'm not telling you like before you can run this pace, like, no, it's not relative, but in your mind, before you can like what you may consider running, like you have to allow yourself to get into that like really slow space to where your body is calm and it's not stressing you out. And even for those of you who like Angela, I know that you've been on it for a while and you've been consistently running, but even as you begin to increase your distance, the same effect is kind of going to take place where you start to feel a little bit like, like, oh, this is hard. And so like that magical superpower of slowing down, like it changes everything. And so it wasn't until this week, and so this has been a few weeks of consistently dabbling back in it again, to where I was like, I forced myself. Like, I'm like, okay. First, I went out to go for a walk because I just wasn't in the mood. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go for a run. I don't want to dig deep. I don't want to sweat that much. Like, I just don't want to. And no shame in that game. I know you guys can relate to this to some degree. I just didn't want to. And so I went out and I took the dog and I was like, I'm just going to go for a walk, and I'm going to walk for a while. I had this distance in my mind. I'm going to walk this far today. And I just, as I got out there, I'm like, I'm just going to jog a little bit. And I swear I should blame it on my ADHD. Like I just didn't have the patience to walk the distance I decided I was going to go. So I'm like, I'm just going to jog. Like it'll go a little bit faster. Anyway, so I was like, I'm going to jog like nice and slow. And so I started, but in my mind, I had already said this was going to be a walk, right? I was going to go out there and walk. So when I started jogging, like even like a little hop in the step, like I told you guys from the beginning, like Haley, this is what I'm talking about. Even if it's like a little bit of a hop in your step, like that's kind of what I was doing. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing so great because my plan was just to walk. So like, look at me, like I am like really, I'm hopping along here. And I just kind of kept that because it felt so good. Like I was in this relaxed state. I wasn't like, I'm going out for a run. I was more like, okay, like I'm just gonna, do this for a little bit. And it felt so good. I ended up doing that the whole time. And so like in my mind, again, this has nothing to do with pace. I am not looking at pace. I have no idea what's going on with pace. I'm just talking about like feeling my body and knowing I'm going this distance. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to like hobble along a little bit. And I ended up doing the whole thing because I was in that place of like, I'm just going to go so nice and easy. And I'm just going with the dog and just kind of like, bouncing along. And I was like, okay, like this is it. And the thing is like over time, that feeling kind of like it starts to like you start to have those feelings in quicker paces, not that we're fixating on pace, but like your body will be moving faster, but you can still get into that place, or longer distances. But you have to allow yourself to live in this space of slow. Yes, even if you feel like you're going backwards, but like that's where you are. And it's that consistency of like, I'm just going to go slow. But the whole point is like, it's not like a super stressful, like this is miserable, I'm going to push myself. Like that's why I think people are so like, oh, I hate running, or oh, I'm going to quit, that kind of thing. Cause you get in this place like that's miserable. Nobody wants to push themselves that hard. And so, I mean, sometimes we get in the mood to do that. And sometimes we force ourselves and it feels really good. But if you're in this place of like, okay, I just want this to be comfortable. Like I want this to feel good. I want this to be like a part of my journey. Really just slowing down and to a place, even if you feel like you're walking backwards, even if you are at a place where you're like, oh, would this be considered running? Like, put a little hop in your step and keep moving and just let it be comfortable, because that's what makes it enjoyable. So I was able to finish the whole distance. I felt so good. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was not miserable at all. And I didn't feel like, like the whole baby draft thing, like everything like my muscles weren't strong enough and all of that. I felt like it was really invigorating. And so I was tired in like the best way. So I ended up doing it again later in the week, and just to kind of test my theory, like, okay, I'm going to try this again. Again, I was kind of like pouty about it. And I was like, well, I might just go out for a walk, but whatever. Like, let's see if I still have those same feelings, because it was such a relief to not feel stressed and overwhelmed and like that I was really like digging deep. I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be there. And so I did it again. And I again, not looking at pace, but I took the dog and I was like, come on, girl, let's go. And I ended up like just doing it again, like so slow. And it's really just about, please don't look at your pace to try to find this. Please don't be looking at your watch to try to find this place. It is just a feeling that you have. It's just a place where you can relax your shoulders and you can breathe easy. And that really is, there is that whole, like, I can have a conversation. And like, I feel like to myself, I've been listening to our prayer app often on both of these runs. I mean, I listened to them the whole time. Like, it was different prayers. It's the Hallow app that I know I've talked to you guys about before. I happen to listen to. You can get prayers on YouTube or whatever. And they were the daily reflections, and I hadn't been listening to them for a long time. So I had a lot of them to catch up on. And now if I was in that place of like, I'm digging deep, I'm pushing hard, like, I couldn't listen to that. And I know that sounds crazy, but I wouldn't be in a headspace. It would either have to be like, I'm listening to music that's making me forget that I'm even moving, or I'm listening to nothing to be in that, like, I'm just grinding through. But I was able to literally listen to these prayers the entire time because I had myself in such a calm place. And it was kind of like my test. I knew that if I could listen to that and kind of really just follow along, that I was going slow enough to have me in that headspace of just calm. And it was almost like that meditative place. But the reason I couldn't get there, and it has felt so awkward, it does take time to be able to find that place. It does take time. So nobody's going to find it right away. You're not going to re-find it right away, but it is there with, I would say, 1 to 2 weeks of consistency. And then you can settle into that and find that I'm taking a deep breath and I'm just kind of chugging along, and you can kind of zone out, but it's got to be slow and comfortable. And then you can kind of carry on, and it can be enjoyable. So to help you guys feel that, like, I get you and I feel you. And I know why people say, I hate this. I told you. I've like so many times I'm like, ew, do I even want to do this anymore? Like, blah. Until this past week, I feel reinvigorated. Like, okay, I do like this, because two things. I wasn't yet quite like in the rhythm to be able to even like, you guys know what I'm talking about. When you very first start, you feel like you're like all discombobulated. Everything feels discombobulated. Everything's bouncing. Everything's not like in a rhythm. But that comes pretty quickly. And then once you kind of like, okay, I've got a rhythm, but now this feels like kind of stressful. Like almost like, what is that? What is that chemical that it would release? I know Daisha will hook me up in the chat. What is that chemical that would release if I was feeling stressed while doing the workout? Like, you want to get, you don't want to be in that place the whole time. Like, that's not fun. But you want to like kind of settle into it and relax into it. And it is a thing, and you can't make it happen. But most of the times that only comes from, I think it's cortisol. That only comes from slowing down, like to the point where you can like, again, relax your shoulders, relax your body, and just like, okay, I'm just chugging along. So you could always do the prayer test or the podcast test or whatever it is. If you can listen to that while you're going, you're probably going slow enough to be in that space of like, okay, like I'm good. I can keep doing this. And Mike, I know that you're on here. I would love for you to try this. I really haven't said this to you this week, but I would love for you to try this. And Mike has been doing more like lifting, which I get at. Sometimes running is like, like I'm just not in the mood. Like I'm not down with it right now. And I don't care what you're doing. I want you moving your body, whether that means walking, whether that means lifting. I know Haley, you were teasing Mike and you were saying, does this even count? Like, yes, moving your body, taking care of yourself. Like as long as you're doing that, like Nancy talked about Zumba the other day, like girl, get it. Because like the running is there. You guys have, you've graduated into the knowing you can do it, knowing how to do it. But if you're in that stage of like, whatever, been there, done that, like as long as you're moving your body. But I do want you to know that place of like really enjoying it is there and is available to you. You got to slow down and have that consistency for at least 2 weeks and you're going to feel it kick in. So Mike, I would love for you to try that because yeah, you're my husband. I live with you. Why am I telling you this now? Cause I'll forget, but like later this, one day this week, cause you have a matching knee brace. He has the same one. I guess that's what happens in your 40s. Whenever you go, I want you to really like maybe listen to a podcast or the Hallow app and just like try to relax into it and see how you feel because we haven't done that in a while. So anyway, okay. Let's go. Let me get down the list. I want to talk to you guys about Operation 5K. I've seen so many more posts coming in this week. I'm like, I love when I bribe y'all with a t-shirt and then people are like, I'm doing it. Even though I was terrible about getting a post in the group to remind you about the t-shirt, that was really just there for anybody who watched the live. And they're like, you're probably thinking now, like, what are you talking about? I wanted to throw it out to you guys that we're calling it Operation 5K. I wanted to help us get more posts and activity within the group. And we just need to earn a new t-shirt. So I am designing it super cute. It's got like, it's kind of like got an arch. This is Solemates for Life. And then it has like a sun. It looks like a sunrise over the water, chasing that sunlight. Love it so much. And then at the bottom, it says Operation 5K. I'm going to put some finishing touches, but it's super cute. And I decided that we're going to earn that from now. And don't worry if you had a rough couple of weeks, because I've been terrible about sharing what I want you guys to do between now and June. I had the date. Hold on. June 27th. So I want us to make like our official 5K weekend, June 27th. I really was thinking about the 4th of July because that's the Saturday. I want it to be on a Saturday. But I also know that people could have different plans, happening that weekend. And I like when we do it in the same weekend. If we can even do it the same day, even better. But the whole point, you guys, is that by June 27th, that we are all completing a 5K. That can be walking, that can be jogging, that can be running, that can be a combination, whatever it is for you. And I did say that there are some of you who have been consistent in your running and you may want to kind of make it like a 5K, where you're doing a 5K every week or every other week, one of them, if that's where you are. But if not, I do want you guys working up to that and whatever that looks like for you. So starting where you are, if you need plans adjusted, let me know what plans you need, but getting to a 5K distance on June 27th. Now, I'm going to bribe you. Again, can't necessarily do that until I make sure that I advertise it appropriately within the group. But my goal is that you earn it with your 3 workouts posted each week. And yes, I will count any workouts that you do towards your 3 a week, but you must have 3 workouts completed and posted. I would even take, if you had like an illness or something going on I would even take 3 posts from you about what was going on in the week that kept you from your workout. So I would even accept that because I want you guys showing up in whatever way you can to take care of yourself and, to run your happy life or walk your happy life or lift your happy life, whatever it is, so that we can all earn those t-shirts because it's just more fun when you're going to get swag at the end of it. So we're aiming for that on June 27th. Mark your calendar. I want you guys moving a 5K that weekend. No matter what, no matter how you move it, we're going to do that on June 27th. So mark your calendars. Yeah. And it's so funny that Jeff, one of his first posts, which I told you guys in the last live, I'm like, no doubt about it. Jeff's going to be posting with the t-shirt on the line. That is his favorite thing in the world, but who doesn't love some swag? Okay, you guys. So I wanted to talk to you about how I put in the caption, I don't love to tie running and weight together, but I thought this is kind of powerful and you guys can maybe relate to this. I literally gained 25 pounds in the past 3 months And there's so many details behind kind of like what's going on with me. Daisha knows all of them, like at nauseum. I'm not going to go necessarily dive into that part, but I do want to talk about what that means, what that has what has kind of gone on for me in regards to that over these past couple of months, some feelings that I'm having, things that I'm kind of like fighting through, and where I'm going from here and what I'm doing with that. And and again, I keep saying I'm going to record a podcast, and I know, I think it's because I'm a little nervous to sit down and talk about all the details, but it would be like, I really want to dive into kind of how I got to this point. But we'll just say that as of January of this year, I had kind of decided, like, okay, this is kind of funny, but I started gaining weight at the end of 2025. And please know too, this is all relative. So these numbers don't mean anything, and it has nothing to do with what I weigh now or what I weighed, like that kind of thing. But I want you guys to know where I am, because I know many of you have talked to me before. So many of you have said to me, and I know we try to keep these two separate for a very good reason, because I want you to keep your activity up regardless of what's going on with you, what you're eating and those things like that. It's very important. But many of you over the years have said to me and reached out to me like, yeah, like I've gained so much weight and this is how I feel. Like, well, I feel like I'm behind. Like literally, I bet almost everybody in our group at some point has reached out to me. Maybe not everybody, but the majority of people have reached out at some point to be like, hey, I gained all of this weight. Da, 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 da. So I feel like there's a place for this, to have this discussion. And again, not to tie the two together, that I can't do one without the other. That's kind of why I wanted to talk about it tonight. But we'll say I started gaining weight at the end of 2025. I'll talk about all the details in the podcast. But anyway, I decided in January that I was going to like take control. And what that meant for me was I'm going to start, I'm going to download a nutrition app. I'm going to start counting calories. I'm going to get this. And it was going to be like, I'm going to knock it out of the park. I'm going to, take control and feel better, because I was just kind of spiraling. And so starting in January, literally until April, since then, I have gained 20 to 25 pounds. No joke. Like I log into the app now and it's like, oh, like a line straight up. So like I have had so many moments of spiraling about this, because it has nothing to do. Somebody said to me in a conversation that I had face to face, they were like, well, if I only had to worry about 20 or 25 pounds, then I probably wouldn't necessarily feel like this upset. But it's not about a certain weight. It's not about a certain size. It's not about like a specific, weight that I'm at. But the point that was really getting me was that I still kind of am a little bit less, but out of control, and feeling like I was losing control and I was spiraling, and I didn't know how to like stop myself and to like really like just replant myself and like take a deep breath. So that has been happening to me for a while. And it's interesting. I don't know if you guys can relate to this. But it was like almost to where I was panicking about not being able to like have control. And that's such an odd definition of control, like what that means to different people. And it's weird because like, even when I was sporadically throughout these past couple of months, I've been able to log, my food and kind of calculate calories in an attempt to gain control. And like, even on the days when I was like, off the chain of where I guess I should have been, I still felt better because I had a sense of control. Like, okay, but I wrote it down, like, so I kind of know what I'm doing. All of that to say, you guys, what I have discovered, I have done so much soul searching, if you will, praying, if you will, and kind of thinking through and talking through what's been going on with me, that I realized it became very clear that what I'm struggling with has nothing to actually do with bear with me, the food I'm putting in my mouth. Okay. So an example of that would be, it's not that I am lacking an appropriate nutrition plan that's going to help me to be a healthier version of myself. I know what to and what to not put into my body. I know that many of us do, but oftentimes when we have these moments and we feel out of control and we feel like, if you've ever done this, and maybe this isn't you, but again, the majority of people have talked to me at some point about this, but but you feel like you're out of control and you're spiraling. It's like, I'm here to tell you, and you may already know this, but it has a very little to do with I need someone to tell me how many carbs to have, or I need someone to tell me how many calories I need. And I feel like that's where we all kind of get stuck. And that's all kind of what we hyper focus on is like, okay, but I'm going to start counting calories. I'm going to start counting carbs. I'm going to make sure that I burn this, like, and I burn that. But what I have discovered over these past couple of months through, again, through a lot of prayer, through a lot of talking, through a lot of really reflecting on what's going on is that it has very little to do with any of that. And so I'm going to tell you, this is really funny. I don't know if you guys use AI or Chat GPT, but I use it at work. And sometimes I will just randomly ask for things. Like I've asked ChatGPT over the past couple of months, like, hey, can you write me some, healthier recipes that are family friendly, that are quick to make, da 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 da. And I have like, printed off 6 recipes with, can you also give me a grocery list that I can use so that it's, organized by location in the grocery store, blah, blah, blah. Well, the last thing this is really funny. The last thing I had typed in there a few weeks ago was like, hey, I need a nutrition plan. Again, what I'm talking about. I could use some help. Like I've gained this much weight. This is my height and my weight, and I'm really struggling. And da da da. Da. And literally the response was, okay, tell me more about what's challenging for you. And then I'll come up with a nutrition plan that you can follow to help you da 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 da. And I was like, okay, great. So here I am like, okay, well, I tend to get, big emotions. And when I get emotional, I tend to use food as a way to work through my emotions. And then sometimes when I lose control or I feel out of control, then I panic and then I find myself overeating. And then I'm having these, this low self-esteem and I'm feeling terrible because of da 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 da, all these things. And at the end of it, ChatGPT was like, hold up. You actually don't need a nutrition plan. You need a therapist. And I was like, oh, I do. And so and I knew that, but it was like, just like laying out for me, like, listen, there is nothing that I could tell you that you don't already know about nutrition. This is coming from a place of like self-worth and really tying like, I guess unhealthy, if I guess I can say unhealthy, thoughts to, body image and weight and feeling like, oh my gosh, like I'm losing control and feeling almost like an addict and things like that. And so I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but it is a journey that I've been on. And I will say, since I had that aha moment, I have felt so much better. They were like, this is anxiety. Like this is anxiety. And you're probably like, okay, you're talking to AI about this. Since then, I have been looking into and trying to find a therapist to help me kind of work through the anxiety that I'm experiencing, through all of this. And all of that to say, it may bring you relief if you find yourself in this moment, or if you've had this experience where it's like, I feel out of control and you find yourself hyper fixating on like, well, what should I be eating and how many carbs and how many calories, and you find yourself in that place, you may want to take a look at that to see if it's possibly something that has nothing to do with the nutrition that you already know, right? There is no way to go through this life and be like, well, I'm just never going to be hungry. And I know that if I find the exact recipe for what I need, that's not the case, at least for where I am. And if you've ever had that feeling of panic or like feeling like you're completely out of control or that you're spiraling when it comes to nutrition and what you're putting in your body, then, feel free to go on this journey with me, because I'm actually feeling so hopeful, which is the only reason I'm talking about it. I just told you guys I've been going through this for months, and I've been on here talking to you how many times between January and now, or even December and now, and I've never mentioned it because I felt like I don't know what to tell you about it. Like I was in such a negative place, in such a bad place, that I didn't even know what to say to you that would be beneficial other than like, yeah, I'm spiraling, like I'm losing control. And I felt like that's not helpful. Why am I sharing this now? Because it might be helpful for me to nudge you a little bit in this idea that maybe it's really not calories, and maybe it's not that doesn't play a role. Like that does give us a tool to kind of monitor like what's going in and out of our body. But like, maybe it's not about you being hungry. I bet you're not. I've been hungry since 2007. Like maybe it's not really about like hunger. Maybe it's something so much deeper and maybe worth looking into. And I don't know. I feel like I had an aha moment whenever I was looking through talking to ChatGPT about like the nutrition piece. And it gave me a very quick, like, hey girl, like, you don't need that. This is what you need. And I've been, and I'm going to call out, Daisha too, because she has been such a huge support for me. She knows every single detail about all of this. She's the one that I've, cried to if I've been, sitting on the floor and feeling bad about myself or feeling like I'm never going to have control over this. Or, she's the one that I would call and send those, ugly cry pictures to say like, I don't know. It just feels so weird. And a lot of that is because of medications that I had been on that had, kind of numbed that feeling of hunger and just me wanting to be done with kind of all of that. And one of them I will tell you is, being on medication for ADHD for many, many years. It just is a natural appetite suppressant. And then me feeling like I didn't want to be on that anymore. And then spiraling. So many things, guys. There are so many details about that I will share if you are curious or interested on the podcast. But all that to say, like, take some time to consider the idea, the possibility that it does have more to do with anxiety or possibly depression and really doesn't have anything to do with nutrition. So if you find yourself often like looking up recipes and looking up, well, what is the app or what is the workout or what is it that's going to actually make me lose weight or whatever it is. Or for me, it's just wanting a sense of control. Look into it. And if I am absolutely on the hunt right now for the therapist, really the right one that I need to fit me. And I will keep you guys posted on that too. But I wanted to share that with you because that might be something you needed to hear, whether it's just so that you know that you're not alone if you are in that place or if you've been in that place, or that, it's something that you may have not thought about, like stop to reflect on that, please do. In another kind of like, and I don't even know how these two kind of tie into each other, but it's been super helpful for me for the past 2 weeks. So I always want to share it if it's been helpful for me. So since my moment of like, girl, you don't need nutrition, like you need a therapist. You need to think about like what's causing the panic, the anxiety, that kind of thing. And I've been focusing on that. I have felt so much better. I felt so much better in like how I show up. Like, of course, like, as you gain a significant amount of weight, you struggle with the things of like, getting up in the morning and these clothes don't fit, that kind of thing. And it used to bring me to almost panic of like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And now I have found the sense between praying and really focusing on the anxiety piece, which I think the prayer helped me to realize that it was the anxiety piece, allowing myself to take a deep breath and like not to panic over that. Like, okay, well, let's find something that fits. And, you are loved anyway, and to keep moving on. And it has brought so much release, such a pressure release, if you will. And the other thing that I started doing, and my whole family has really benefited from it, it's been super easy, but I've just wanted to kind of take better care of what we are eating. And so for the past couple of weeks, we've been doing like this food prep for us for dinner. And this is the tip that I think could be helpful. So instead of doing like what a lot of people see, those containers that you can, kind of pre-make all of your meals in, we've been doing like, and somebody told me this before, but like making healthier options for ourselves, but doing it like kind of like these big, like Pyrex containers, storing in our fridge and pulling it out and kind of being able to heat up that way. It's so much easier. We just like make, a massive amount of vegetables and that kind of thing. And I can only even do that because I've really stepped back and kind of focused on the anxiety that's tied to me hyper focusing on nutrition, if that makes sense, to a place where I'm like, okay, I just want to put healthier things in my body. Let's go ahead and make them ahead of time so they're easier to get, and just putting them in these big containers that you can kind of just scoop out and heat up. And we didn't think the kids would want it, but last week we had done it. We made like ground beef and vegetables like green peppers and onions and mixed that up and rice. And we had them in like 3 big containers, and we just kept pulling it out. And Mike thought, well, we're just going to have this ourselves. But the kids loved it. And we poured some like teriyaki or marinara sauce on it. And we had that most days of the week. And so kind of allowing ourselves to eat repetitive things throughout the week, but also kind of like mass preparing it was super helpful. And so it does take a chunk of time, but like that saving time on your dinner and something that you can, do, in my opinion, easier. So I have a bunch of fruit that I cut up into big containers. And I have like right now we did the same thing. Cause I was like, listen, this is I cannot do anything complicated. I cannot do anything that's going to take a ton of time. So literally again, we just did green peppers and onions in a big container, ground beef in a big container, rice in a big container. And then I have like strawberries cut up in a big container. And it's really just taken the pressure off and given us an option that our whole family is sort of eating. So it usually lasts us a few days. And then, throughout the week, we kind of do it again. And so that's kind of where I am. And I'm like learning to love myself and be okay. And as Daisha would say, it's so nice. Daisha is my biggest cheerleader, by the way, when it comes to all of this and me telling her all this. But it all comes down to surrender, as she says, right? Like letting go of that control and that whole idea of like I have to, control everything that goes in my body and just surrender. And she's talking in regards like surrendering to God and asking him what he needs me to learn from this. And knowing that this experience is so powerful. Everything that's challenging in your life, everything that you go through, there is always a reason. Nothing is by coincidence. And there's always something meant to be learned from it. And I know that there's going to be a moment where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I went through that. And maybe it's so that I could share it with you guys. If you've had this experience, maybe so I can share it with you, or if I can figure anything out. Daisha said to me the other day, she was like, I've been working at this for, I don't know what, 30 years, no, 20 years, trying to figure out the same things that I'm struggling with now. And she was like, I swear, if you figure it out in a few months, I'm going to kill you. But I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe I for some reason I needed to feel this and I need to go through this, and maybe I'm not done, and maybe I'm going to continue to nosedive, and that's okay. I'm going to learn something from it. Maybe I'll learn something by finding a therapist. Maybe I can give you guys advice on, how that has helped me. But I feel like if you're going through something and you're struggling, you're finding things that are working and you're feeling hopeful, like it is our job, right, to share. And I will tell you, I have hit my knees and prayed on, I have not prayed. The words have never come out like, Lord, make me skinny, because that seems so silly to me. But I have hit my knees and I used to say, like, help me to control, like to feel, to control how I take care of my body. But I felt like it was deeper than that. And I had to keep spiraling to get to this point to where now I'm kind of praying like Lord, help me to love myself regardless. Like, Lord, help me to know that you love me regardless. Like, help me to feel that in my soul and my spirit. Help me to throw my hands up and say, you love me anyway. I am loved anyway. I am perfect just the way that I am. And to release that panic and that pressure to be a certain weight or a certain way in order to be accepted and loved. And I think that's the part. I don't know if I am there yet. I don't feel like I'm quite there yet, but that's what I've been spiraling to. But there's always a reason for the spiral. There's always a reason when you're hitting your knees and you're crying, you feel like things are so hard and you feel, and I know that it sounds a little superficial, but I know that you guys can probably relate to this, but you feel like, you're questioning your worthiness and you're questioning your life and you're questioning your ability and you're questioning like all the things, like what's wrong with me? Like, why don't I have more self-control? Why don't I have more determination? Why don't I have more willpower? Like, why am I broken? All of those things. Like when you're spiraling in that way and feeling that way, like there is something to be learned. And so it's so important that we keep our eyes open and our ears open and that we're looking for that. And if you need, find somebody to remind you of that. Like, what are you meant to learn through this? And if we can only reflect, if we could just use that statement throughout this week, even, right? Like, what am I meant to learn? Anytime something feels difficult or hard, what am I meant to learn from this? And maybe I don't know yet. Maybe you don't know yet, and you have to continue to spiral or things have to get to a certain place. Like, what am I meant to learn from this? Then it repaints the whole picture for you. Thank you for letting me stand on my soapbox. Thank you for being here with me regardless. Thank you for loving me anyway, despite all of my many flaws. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. The next time I see you, I'm actually going to come back live again next week instead of 2 weeks from now, because I want to get back to like the first and third Sunday of the month, because we're kind of off of that. So I'm going to come back next Sunday. So on the 3rd, it'll be the 3rd and the 17th. I'm going to come back and hang out with you guys next week. So I'll give you all the updates. I would love to hear the updates from you. And if you think this is crazy and you don't know what's wrong with me, then you can tell me that too. That's okay. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing week. Keep moving your body. Keep moving your body. 2 weeks of consistency will change your life. It will change your trajectory. It will change how you feel about your day. 2 weeks of consistency. So 6 workouts over the next 2 weeks. I want to see 3 workouts posted before I see you again next Sunday, May 3rd. I love you guys so much. Have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday.